Hello, all you wonderful Rise of Kingdoms players out there. This is Dragothien here, and today I'm going to deliver what I promised. Maybe a little bit delayed. It's the ranker, the pairing ranker for RAMESSES. So again, we just emphasized earlier last week how critical RAMESSES is to a lot of the endgame stuff that's in this game. And obviously we have two new really good archer commanders coming out, which we also did a video on. That you may want to kind of start to figure out where they fall in with RAMESSES, what you should be doing with RAMESSES, just things like that. So I want to make sure you guys know the top tier pairings. Now I did do something a little bit different as far as the setup one here, because again, I've already set up the ranker. We have the top tier, which is going to be the tier where you can feel confident having a good secondary or primary with RAMESSES and have a good setup to where if you're rallying or open field, you're in really good shape. Same thing with middle tier, although it's okay to use these commanders, there's probably not as good as the top tier, which is kind of where the whole point of the video is. And then the bottom tier, it's completely loaded up with commanders. We have so many commanders in this game now that I'm going to have to start maybe looking at trimming the fat a little bit on these commanders on what I show you, because obviously Lohar, and I didn't even put up the gathering commanders, obviously, right? Like, Ishida and Cleo and things like that, Sundyak even. And, things like that. Maybe we can start trimming some of the peacekeeping commanders, although there are a couple peacekeeping commanders that work kind of well with RAMESSES. But we're going to go through this together. Now, I also, on the top tier, take this for what it is, okay? I'm not saying that these are necessarily better than some of the legendaries that are in the middle tier. But if you're going to have to use an epic commander, these are the top tier epic commanders to use with RAMESSES as well. So let's just jump right into it. I've explained enough. Let's just show you what we've got going on here, and hopefully it'll give you the right idea and give you on the right track with what you're trying to do. So first off, let me go ahead and slide this puppy down and make sure I've got it. Okay, good. So we're going to give you the top tier first. And I got to give you a little bit. I'll just do it that way. I've got Sun Tzu there on the right, kind of half middle tier, half top tier, kind of thing. Because again, Sun Tzu is kind of like a little mini legendary anyway. But this is the top tier, cream of the crop archer commanders that I would pair with RAMESSES. Now, obviously, YSG is a big deal. Artemisia, huge pairing with RAMESSES. Tamiris, same thing. RAMESSES paired with RAMESSES is also something that probably shouldn't really be there. In fact, let me go ahead and remove him. I'm not sure why he's standing there on top of himself. There he is. That's the one. Bye. And I'll even move Nebuchadnezzar over to where he should be, which is right there. I meant to do that move before I started the video, but I guess I forgot to do it. So here's the top 6 legendary commanders I would pair with RAMESSES. All of them have a reason behind them. I think the 2 newest ones obviously have a massive amount of damage addition to RAMESSES, and Nebuchadnezzar having some of that defensive capability. RAMESSES is pretty defensive too for an archer commander. I think that pairing is also going to be a really good one, alongside of Artemisia is also a really good pairing already. Tamiris will give you that extra damage. YSG is going to give you that AoE as well as rage generation. And then Cyrus is also going to be a little bit of an interesting thing to test out too. I think he's going to be a really good rallying pair with RAMESSES as well. And then Elsa gives you that utility, right? Especially if you're using them to swarm inside of Osiris League, like we were talking about earlier on previous videos, where you want to have a good healing debuff. You can have the silence, disarm that Elsa does, that kind of thing. You should be able to use that in good pair together, and that's a really good, solid swarming pair on the open field. And then on the right side, again, we did do some pairings on the epics as well. I just want to kind of give you an epic flavor. These aren't going to be as good as the legendaries as far as just raw damage output, the stats, and things like that, but they do really well if this is what you got to work with. Herman, Kusunoki, Kira, surprisingly enough, 80% skill damage bonus with a nice AoE. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. A little bit of an attack and defense buff as well that she provides you. Not too bad. I like it. Osmond just for the raw skill damage and increased army capacity. And then again, Sun Tzu, because Sun Tzu. Sun Tzu is basically a little mini universal legendary that you can use him as second to pretty much anything, and he works really, really well. He has a defense. or a damage reduction buff. He's got the AoE, he's got the rage generation, he's got the skill damage bonus. I mean, these are all good things. All right, so that's the top tier. This is top tier, cream of the crop. This is where you want to be at. All right. Let me go ahead and find the cover again. And I'm going to scroll down to the middle tier. Now, the middle tier, a couple maybe little arguments if you want to have a conversation about them. A couple things I do want to talk about, because there's some odd ones in here that I thought, just on paper, look kind of cool. First off, Edward, right? So if you're using Edward, you want to use him primary, and that's going to slow down Ramesses' skills. And Ramesses' benefit, like Ramesses' his strength, right, is his skills going off at a decent clip. So you want to make sure that you want to have his skills going off as quickly as possible. Edward does the opposite of that because he has the increased rage requirement on his first skill. That's why he works so well with Tamiris, where Tamiris wants to have a little bit of a delay to increase the skill damage debuff that she puts out alongside of the skill damage behind that debuff. Alexander is really a good secondary to any nuker, and I like the tankiness that he provides a Ramesses army, whether it's open field or rally. I think Ramesses Alex is not too bad at all. In fact, I think that's an underused pairing if you don't have some of the top tier, or if you're using these top tier commanders in other pairings in your set of 5. Alex is not a bad plug-in for that secondary. Same thing with Mehmed. He's just kind of a universal nuker. If you're rallying a city, Ramesses Mehmed, not bad at all either. In fact, that'd be probably top tier if we were talking about city rallies only, but we're talking about universally. Open field, city rally, flag rally, pass rally, things like that. Guan. So, I know a couple people probably saying, why do you have Guan in here on the middle tier? Look at his skills. So his first skill is a universal nuke, and it also has a silence. So you would want to have Guan secondary here, which I don't generally recommend. I usually say Guan primary all day, every day. What's wrong with you? However, in this situation, Ramesses primary gains more benefit from having archers in that army because of the archer only skills that he has and all the bonuses to archers that Ramesses provides. Guan is going to take a little bit of a hit on his skill, his first active skill damage. So it's only 1,000 damage factor versus 2,000. That's a thing. It is a little harsh. However, his other skills, with the exception of one, all complement Ramesses pretty darn well, and they're universal as well, except for one. So the silence, again, from the primary skill, that's always a good addition to any army, period. Then he also has the extra skill damages that he does on the back end on his 4th skill. Very, very good. And again, just overall, he has things that help Ramesses out. And he does the things that he does universally so well that I think he's in the middle tier. I would put him in the middle tier. He does complement Ramesses fairly well. Mulan is a good secondary support for Ramesses. I don't necessarily think that this is going to be like a standalone, hey, this is a great pairing, period. But as part of a group of 5, it's not bad at all. And again, if you're going to throw Mulan in there, not bad behind Ramesses. The generation of counterattack damage and things like that benefit Ramesses. And again, the bonuses that she provides also obviously benefit Ramesses. So I personally would not be upset to see that. Same reason for Ethelfled, same exact reason almost. You got Mulan being the buffer, Ethelfled being the debuffing flavor of that. Same idea, would work really well together. Saladin has a couple cab-specific bonuses, don't get me wrong, but they would be able to stack their skill damage reduction very nicely. And again, they both reduce healing. So the amount that people can be healed. So I'm curious to see if anybody's tried that. If you want to post in the comments below. I haven't tried it because I don't have Ramesses maxed out. But I'd be curious to see how, if you got them going off back to back, how much the healing debuff is to the target, and does it make that 4,000 health heal from Richard like 1,000 or 800 or some nonsense like that. I'd be curious to see. Chandra, I almost didn't put Chandra in the middle tier just because The third skill is arguably one of his best skills, which is the Arthashastra skill, which gives that debuff to defense and health. That's a critical skill for Chandra. You don't get that if you have Chandra second to Ramesses because he needs Cav. However, the blessings all stack up with the way that Ramesses works. The skill damage that Chandra does all stacks up to the way it works. It's attack buffs. All that stuff will pair up nicely with Ramesses. You just lose that debuff, which is really, really good, but you can still use him. That's why I'm kind of putting him in the middle tier. If everything worked together, Chandra would be top tier with Ramesses because of everything that he does. Freddy and YSS, so Yisun Shin, both of these, again, leadership commanders. They can be used as a secondary for extra nuke, things like that, but I just don't like YSS in the open field, and honestly, I don't really like YSS much at all. I know some people swear by him with Theo and how great they are, but unless you're really into killing Siege, there's no point, in my opinion, of having YSS. But open field, he does have a decent nuke. He does have that troop capacity stuff, all that good stuff with the leadership tree, and obviously you can't use him if it's secondary for the tree, but you get my drift. It'll work. It's just not great, and it's not terrible, but I would lean YSS closer to terrible than top tier. But Freddy's got more going for him. He's got the troop capacity, he's got the heal, he's got the extra skill damage, all that good stuff that pairs up nicely with the talent trees that you're going to want to use for Ramesses. Very, very good. Leonidas is another one of those like Chandra and like Guan that work to me with Ramesses. Leo as a second, right? You lose some of the extra speed of rage gain, which whoever sees that, right? Like, you never see that. But he does pair up nicely because the extra damage that Leo can do based off of debuffs is triggered by Ramesses. You got the AoE from Leo and all the stackable damage buffs on the fourth skill, and his expertise work regardless of troop type. So I don't know if maybe this is the pair. Again, I don't have a max Ramesses. I should just max him out just to show you guys if these are going to work. I think most of these are going to work. The ones that are a guarantee are going to work are on the top tier, and then all the regular stuff there. But I'm going out on a limb with Leo and Guan and Chandra and Saladin. Those are my out on the limb commanders. I really feel like these would work. So I'm putting them in the middle tier. And then Julius works great as a secondary to any nuker, adding some extra tankiness, adding some extra troop capacity, adding the damage if you can get it quick enough back around, with Julius giving that buff for 5 seconds to damage. So very, very nice. And then let's go ahead and scroll down to the bottom, because I think I've basically given everything a good explanation of why I picked what I picked. And I'm going to go ahead and drop my camera so you guys can see just the plethora of nonsense that we got that doesn't necessarily work with Ramesses. I mean, some of these will certainly work. If you want a really tanky Ramesses, throw a Richard behind him. Sure, you'll heal a bunch and things like that, but it won't be, Ramesses. You're not really getting the full benefit. If you just want to have a nice healing debuff, then yeah, throw a Richard on there on the back end, and it'll make that army stay alive quite a bit. But again, you see all the Cav commanders, the Garrison commanders, the Attila, Takeda. Those are not made for pairing with Ramesses. A lot of the infantry commanders like Harold, William, Charlemagne, Barca, OG. OG's a little bit there, but again, I still think that he is mostly in the bottom tier. Let me go ahead and drop my video so you can see. I've also got Theo here, Charles. I've got Joan. Those are all kind of where I'm at with this. I personally think that that's kind of where it's at. I don't see anything to really kind of make me go, oh my goodness, I've got to have these particular people here. I'll just kind of have Joan right here, and then I'll go ahead and throw the logo. And then this will be the picture for Discord, and certainly if you guys want to take a snapshot of this too, by all means do so. If I'm missing a commander, please yell at me in the comments. I feel like I've caught up with all the commanders that have come out, but I may be mistaken. There's Zenobia. Okay, so I think so. Zenobia and Harold. And then I've got the 2 new Archer commanders. So I think we're good. If I missed one, please let me know in the comment section below. And I hope you guys have enjoyed this pairing video. This is kind of going to be, I think, this is really where it's at. I think this is what you should be looking at if you want to know what to pair with Ramesses as of early December 2020. So hope you guys have enjoyed. Take care. I'll see y'all next time.